Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Tuesday. So glad to be with you for the next 2.5 hours or so here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our streaming video channels, WIBW News on Facebook, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Like and subscribe, however, whenever, wherever you're tuning into the broadcast today. Thanks so much for being a part of 580 Sports Talk. I'm Dan Lucero. Brendan Wrzinski and Spencer Dupuis will both be along in a little while. I say 2.5 hours today. We're going to take you till roughly 5:30, at which point we've got some Tuesday night hoops for you, some high school basketball from the Meadowlark Conference. We're heading out to the pressure cooker at Highland Park as the Scots welcome in the Washington Wildcats tonight for our Tuesday night hoops double dip. Yours truly and Larry Latimer, the coach, on the call, anticipating a girls' start time of 5:30. That is the scheduled start time. Of course, JV action can push that back. So we'll go on the air about 15 minutes prior to the start of that girls' game in that 5:15, 5:30 range on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. So that's why we don't have the typical 3 hours today. So we got a lot to jam into the next 2.5 hours. A thriller in Lubbock last night that I'm still not sure I can quite believe Kansas won. But they found a way. The Jayhawks pull it out, made hard work of it in the final 15 seconds. I don't know what the hell Trey White's brain was doing. Just totally malfunctioning in the last 20 seconds of that basketball game. But KU finds a way. They hang on. They beat Texas Tech last night 64-61. And all of a sudden, the door might be wide open for Bill Self's Jayhawks to reclaim the Big 12 championship. And it's wide open because they might have the best player in the country. And I don't want to pat myself on the back too hard, but I told you exactly what I thought was going to happen for KU to win. And to the minute, it's what happened last night. So we will get into that. Lots of Jayhawks to talk about. We'll break down that game from all angles. Talk about, again, another toughness win for a program that used to win games like that a lot more frequently, but had kind of forgotten how to win in the last couple of years. Of course, the stellar final 2 minutes for Darryn Peterson. He was out there, and he was there in those big moments for the Jayhawks with his 2 clutch threes to tie and then give Kansas the lead. It's not a real great game from DP otherwise, and I think more of the credit goes to Texas Tech than that is a detriment to Peterson's skill set or level of compete or athleticism, whatever you want. I just think Texas Tech defended him and all the rest of the Jayhawks really well. I mean, they held KU to 64. But the Jayhawks found a way to win. And do they have the best defensive player in the country? Bill Self thinks so. We'll get into all of that. Plenty to talk about as it pertains to that win for the Jayhawks last night at United Supermarkets Arena in Lubbock. And we'll get Michael Swain's take on it all when he joins us for Jayhawk Weekly at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. That is coming up. Michael Swain of Fog.net will join us to talk about that game, look ahead to the rest of the KU schedule. They got Utah next on Saturday at the Fog. How it might behoove Kansas to not play with their food against the worst team in the Big 12. Lots to talk about with Michael. We'll look forward to that coming up at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. Michael Swain of Fog.net for Jayhawk Weekly. We're going to talk some Super Bowl as well. For those of you who are watching the program today on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, or our Facebook page, WIBW News, I told you I would be dressing more appropriately the rest of the week. I've gone deep into the closet for today's selection. This is a Sean Alexander home jersey from, I think I bought this my junior year of high school, and I've still got it. You can probably tell looking at it. Again, if you're watching the stream, you can see it's a little worse for wear. It's been through it. It's been well worn. It's been well loved. But I told you, I would be dressing more appropriately leading up to Super Bowl 60 between the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are in the Super Bowl, guys. Isn't that something? Isn't that just something else? And, hey, maybe that gives you a little bit of a rooting interest for Sunday. Maybe you can think, you know what? All right, I'm not as interested in the Super Bowl this year. Chiefs aren't in it. That's a drag. Second time in 7 years, the Chiefs aren't in it. That's a bummer. Don't really know much about either of these teams. But I like that Dan fella who's on the radio yelling all the time. That yapper on the radio likes the Seahawks. I'll root for his happiness on Sunday. That would be fine with me if you would like to do that. The bandwagon is open. I am not going to gatekeep the bandwagon. All are welcome aboard the Sam Darnold bandwagon. Because trust me, I had to play catch up on that throughout the season. But we're going to talk a little Super Bowl later on in the show. Obviously, the quarterbacks take center stage. They always do, even when it's not like Patrick Mahomes playing quarterback in the Super Bowl. It's always about the quarterbacks. Sam Darnold, Drake May, we know that. Who are the other potential hidden heroes or hidden villains for the Patriots and the Seahawks for Super Bowl 60? We'll get into that a little bit in the 4 o'clock hour. So, we want to hear from you throughout the show. 785-272-9429 is the text line. You can also hop in the live chat on our YouTube stream as well. We are streaming live again on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Go subscribe if you have not yet, and jump in that live chat and say hello to the listeners. We got Tyler is in, and Tom, good to see you. Vance, I'm just scrolling up. Mark H is in the chat as per normal. Good to see you as well. It's great to have everybody along. Look forward to hearing from more of you in the live chat. Tyler says, by the end of the week, I feel like I'm going to hate the Seahawks. I'm not going to make you hate the Seahawks. I might make you hate me. I'm trying not to be too obnoxious about this whole thing. I'm still just kind of can't believe they're in the Super Bowl. It's the damnedest thing. Isn't it cool? Anyway, but appreciate the comments so far. Look forward to interacting with you folks in the live chat on our 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel throughout the day. Oh, yeah, we've got headlines. We got What Is Wrong With You. We'll do a little Random Question Tuesday. It's a Tuesday. You know what to expect to an extent here on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get into it. Kansas 64, Texas Tech 61. And this is not me saying I told you so, because I didn't really tell you so. I thought Tech would win last night. I made that my pick. And the reason I picked Texas Tech was because I thought they would be able to take advantage of Kansas's tendency to leave the three-point line a bit neglected defensively. That sure showed up last night. Texas Tech took 43s. That's one a minute. 43s. And they made 12. And look, that's 36 points on threes. That's a lot, but that's also 28 misses. That's a lot of empty possessions. And Texas Tech rebounded very well, got a lot of those possessions back, but the three-point line was open, and Tech shot 30%. And part of that was not having Christian Anderson, which, boy, if I'd have known he wasn't going to play, I would have had maybe a different outlook on the game last night. That was a big deal. But it looked for a moment like Texas Tech would just 3 KU to death. I think they made 6 of their first 8 in the second half, and then they went quiet, and KU hung around, and this is the part where I get to have a little bit of a pat on the back here, because I said on yesterday's show, very last segment of the show, you can go back and find it on video or in the podcast if you don't believe me. But my exact words after I said I think Texas Tech will win, I think they'll keep KU at arm's length, I think they'll pull away late because of their three-point shooting. And my exact words were, quote, if Darryn Peterson plays 35 minutes, you might want to forget I said anything. Well, he played exactly 35 minutes in the box score. And he was not great for all of them, but he sure was in the final 2 of them. A stutter step, hand in face 3 out of the corner to tie the game at 61, and then a pull-up triple early in the possession, a confident shot that a great player takes and makes on the road in a tie game to take the air out of the balloon in the USA, United Supermarkets Arena. That was the stuff of killers. And that is what Darryn Peterson is. He spent the whole night hearing about how he was, and I have to put this politely for the radio, but you certainly heard the chant over television if you were watching the game last night. And maybe if you did not hear it audibly over the TV or on the radio broadcast, you heard people talking about it, that repeatedly there were chants at the United Supermarkets Arena calling Darryn Peterson a word that is also used to refer to a cat. You probably can guess the word that I am hinting at, but can't really say because this is the radio and we're not in the safe harbor and I don't want an FCC fine. I got a mortgage to pay. Anyway, you know the word that we're talking about. And they spent the whole night calling Darryn Peterson that word. And Darryn Peterson in the final 2 minutes said, "Do not get it twisted. I'm all dog. And so are my teammates. So are these Jayhawks. They're 100% dog. And you don't win that game if you're not 100% dog." And Kansas went out and they stole that game. Matt Norlander of CBS on Blue Sky last night, I thought described it really well. He described it as a casually stealing the game. Just very casual. Just Darryn Peterson walking up on you with your wallet sitting on the table and just saying, "I'm going to take this. Don't mind me. I got this. I'm out of here." And just made off with the ball game with those final two shots. It was not easy for Peterson or the rest of the Jayhawks to get offense last night. Texas Tech defended incredibly well. They don't have a great defensive record this year. They came into last night 44th in Ken Palm defensive rankings. So they're not an elite defensive team by any stretch. Not like some of the Texas Tech teams we've seen in recent years. Not like some of those Chris Beard Texas Tech teams. Not like some earlier Grant McCaslin Texas Tech teams. But they played really well defensively last night. They forced Kansas into a lot of mid-range shots, which are low percentage, low value. Those are the shots you want your opponent taking. You want your opponent to take as many mid-range jumpers as possible. They are low percentage and they are low value shots. And Darryn Peterson took a lot of mid-range shots and missed a lot of mid-range shots last night. And he was far from the only one. But those shots were about all that Kansas could reliably create. They got it. They got some post-ups and duck-ins late from Flory Badunga. Got a big alley-oop to him late from Bryson Tiller that was helpful in their game-closing rally. I think it was part of that 8-0 run. It might have been the first basket. I think it was, as I'm thinking about it, the first basket in the 8-0 run that closed out the game, followed by Peterson's two triples. So they got a little something going at the rim here and there, but by and large, it was a struggle for Peterson and the rest of the Jayhawks to get reliable offense. And for Peterson, that was probably his hardest game in terms of how he was being guarded and the shots that he was capable of getting. And then with a minute and a half left, none of that mattered because that's what great players do. That's the kind of talent and that's the kind of player that we're dealing with here. Playing crunch time minutes for only the second time all season. And with all due respect to the Colorado Event Center in Boulder, that atmosphere wasn't the atmosphere last night that Peterson and the Jayhawks were having to go into and try and win in. And with all due respect to Tad Boyle's Buffaloes, that team isn't these Texas Tech Red Raiders. So this was a different deal. This was a setting where we really had not seen what it would look like for Darryn Peterson in so many ways. And the setting didn't matter, and the opponent didn't matter. And having been 3 for his first 12 from the field didn't matter. Darryn Peterson just got buckets. Just made the two biggest shots of the game and allowed Kansas to win in a really difficult spot. That was something I hammered on yesterday's show. That's not an easy game to win for a variety of reasons. And it's a game that a lot of teams let get away from them. You get a big home win. You continue a winning streak. You maybe take a little bit of a breath. And then you've got that quick, big Monday turnaround, and you got to go on the road and play a really good team in a really tough environment. That's a game where maybe you don't let go of the rope, but maybe your grip slackens just a little bit, enough for the other team to pull you over the line and get a win. Kansas didn't allow it. Darryn Peterson didn't allow it. And we got to be fair here. Christian Anderson's absence didn't allow it because Texas Tech was missing their primary creator and their best three-point weapon with Anderson out last night. That was unexpected. He didn't feel well. He tried to get himself into some kind of physical shape to play. He was on the exercise bike in the second half, but he did not play. Can you imagine if Darryn Peterson spent an entire second half on an exercise bike and then didn't come in, what they'd say about him? Just throwing that out there. So Tech didn't have a really important piece, and I do think that mattered, especially down the stretch, because he's a guy that can create easy offense or hit a dagger three. He's a great player. Now, because they were the home team, Tech had some of that secondary, tertiary scoring step forward. Jalen Petty and Donovan Atwell hit some big shots. Atwell hit 2 in that 11-0 run that I thought was kind of going to be the knockout blow early in the second half. But Anderson's absence turned JT Toppin into the only real creator / facilitator on the floor for Tech. Now, they had other guys who get offense, like Lawan Watts scored 19. I think it was well above his season average. And a lot of that was just him getting it himself, using his size and using his length to back somebody down and get to the rim. But Lawan Watts is out there creating for Lawan Watts. He's not making offense easier for anybody. He's just out there getting his buckets. JT Toppin was the only guy who played last night for Texas Tech that could make offense, not just for himself, but make it for other players. And his impact on the game was limited because he was being guarded by the best defensive player in America. And if you don't want to take my word for it about Flory Badunga, ask Bill Self, because those are Bill Self's exact words from the postgame that he thinks Flory Badunga is the best defensive player in America. And he is putting together a resume over the course of this 6-game winning streak that's making that really hard to argue with. Because all of a sudden, Flory's not just banging bodies with the other team's 5-man. He's out guarding big wings. He's out there guarding ball-dominant wings like A.J. DeBonza. He's out there guarding the reigning conference player of the year in JT Toppin. And he's making it difficult for those guys to facilitate offense for themselves and for others. There is no greater tool at a coach's disposal when trying to decide how he's going to guard a team than a switchable big. If you have a big that you can get out on the perimeter and they don't feel lost, that's a gift. And look, Kansas has had some outstanding defensive centers under Bill Self, and even in recent memory. Udoka Azubuike was the best defensive player in America his senior year. That 2020 team that I pretty firmly believe would have won the national championship. And David McCormick held his own. Like Ernest Uday as a freshman was a really promising defensive big. But this is something different with Flory because unlike Udoka, like part of the reason KU got annihilated by Villanova in the 2018 Final Four, and that was a younger Udoka, I understand, but part of the reason was Udoka wasn't playable because he couldn't guard the perimeter. He couldn't get out and get a hand in the face of a three-point shooter, and Villanova made, and I was at the game, so I have a pretty good memory of the exact number. Villanova made 193 threes in that game. Again, I was there. I remember the number. It was 193. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, you could play Udoka off the floor defensively. You could play a lot of 5-men off the floor defensively, but you can't play Flory off the floor unless you go 5 smalls, and nobody's doing that. You got to play big. And a lot of teams have those wings who are creators, who are at times ball dominant, and having the ability to match up Flory on a player like Toppin or a player like DeBonza just elevates Kansas's defense because Trey White can go be a bulldog on the perimeter and Melvin Council can be a bulldog on the perimeter. And Bryson Tiller is big enough to be able to handle a 5. Just play on the back of a 5. Don't let him get on the glass like he did to Keita against BYU on Saturday. Flory Badunga is a Swiss Army knife defensively for this Kansas team. And this was a team that I did not think was particularly good defensively early in the year. I think that they had to discover their defensive identity. And I think that in using Flory as the queen on the chessboard, they have managed to do that. Now, you can't put Flory on like a real small quick guard. Like you wouldn't put him on a Rob Wright, right? Like no real sense in doing that. Like the real quick guards, the guys who play with a ton of speed. But just about every other matchup's a good one for Flory Badunga. And right now, it's hard to argue the point that Bill Self makes. That's the best defensive player in the country. And that's a big part of the reason why KU is on a 6-game winning streak and is in the thick of the Big 12 title race. We'll take our first time out here at 580 Sports Talk. Looking for your reaction to last night's Jayhawk victory. Hit us up in the text line, 785-272-9429, 785-272-9429. Can also interact in the live chat on our YouTube stream, 580 Sports Talk. We got more on that game from last night, some Super Bowl talk to get to. Michael Swain of Fog.net will join us for some more Jayhawk talk, bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. We are so glad you're with us, just getting started on this Tuesday here on 580 Sports Talk. .330 on 580 Sports Talk, just getting things revved up on this Tuesday. Again, we'll be off a little early, around 5:30 this evening. We'll send it to the pressure cooker at Highland Park High School. We'll send it back to me. I'll leave the show in the 4 o'clock hour. Brendan and Spencer will have you, and then I'll take over at about 5:30 or so with the coach, Larry Latimer, for some Tuesday night hoops doubleheader tonight. The Meadowlark Conference, Highland Park, hosting Washington. Hope you'll join me for that. Continuing thoughts on last night's Jayhawk winner over Texas Tech, 64-61. The final in that one, 2 threes in the final minute 30 from Darryn Peterson on back-to-back possessions, in fact, giving the Jayhawks a massive road victory in the Big 12 title race. We'll get to the state of play in that race later on. It looks daunting if you just look at the really good teams left on KU's schedule. But bright side, KU controls their own destiny now in the Big 12 title race. And their run-in really isn't as strenuous as some of the other teams who are fighting for position at the top of the league as we hit the midway point in the Big 12 season. That's all coming up in just a little bit. Want to hear from you in the text line, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. You can also jump in the live chat on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Again, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Subscribe if you have not already. Slam that subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything but a click. Funny thought from the 785 on the text line. Sorry, Dan. Jerome Tang told me Nate Johnson is the best defensive player in the country. Maybe Flory Badunga can be second best. Yeah, Jerome Tang said a lot of things before the season. He said a lot of things that have not ended up being necessarily true. Although I do say you catch Abdi Bashir in the right 5 minutes of basketball, and he does look like the best shooter in the country. Like he wasn't too far off base with that one. But anyway, let's we're talking about the Hawks here. We don't need to make it about the poor Jerome Tang and the Wildcats. Anyhow, KU wins that game last night, and I hate to keep doing this because I don't mean to relitigate or talk down upon the last two Kansas teams, which underachieved both in Big 12 play and in the NCAA tournament by the standards of the Kansas basketball program, those lofty standards. I don't want to keep hammering on that group because there were some good Jayhawks in that group. There were national champions in that group. KJ Adams, DeJuan Harris. Hunter Dickinson was a good basketball player. That is flaws, but he's a good player. There was talent on those teams. And I don't mean to keep beating the proverbial dead horse here. But I do think what stood out about last night's win was how familiar it felt. All those years Kansas was winning the Big 12 every single season, they'd win games like that all the time. They'd go on the road, hostile environment. They would take a team's best punch, absolute best haymaker punch. They'd take it right in the chops, and they'd get back up off the mat, and they'd find a way to hang in, and win it late. How many times we see Kansas do that over the years? It's a Bill Self team trait. We even saw it at times from the last 2 years worth of Kansas teams. But that was such a Bill Self team Jayhawk win, such a toughness win, such a character win for that team. I said earlier in the season, I'm not sure how physically tough the Jayhawks are early in the year when they were struggling defensively against really good teams and I guess we're still not at a point, even after he played 35 minutes last night. You don't know right now yet how many minutes you're going to get from the best player on a night in, night out basis. That can be disruptive. That can be difficult. And I do think that it did have an effect, maybe early in the Big 12 schedule on the Jayhawks. But I have not questioned this team's mental toughness. You have guys like Melvin Council. You have guys like Trey White setting the tone. That's a mentally tough basketball team. That's the kind of team that can take that punch and get up and find a way. And they took a haymaker early in the second half. Donovan Atwell shooting the ball for a moment like Steph Curry, and United Supermarkets Arena going nuclear. That 11-0 run, they built the double-digit lead, and I thought to myself, man, even without Christian Anderson, this might be a bridge too far for Kansas because scoring has been so hard for them. And it was hard for them for a variety of reasons. One, Texas Tech defended really, really well last night. For two, it was an off night for Darryn Peterson. And be honest with yourself. When Peterson went to the bench in the second half, did you think he was coming back in? Did you think that he was going to return to the game? When Jaden Dawson went to the table and checked in, did you think that meant, oh boy, that means we're not seeing DP again tonight? Because I did. I'll confess. That was my thought, that we had seen the last of Peterson. And he checked in and he played a season high 35 minutes. He hit the two biggest shots of the game. And it's a different kind of confidence. Like Melvin Council's if any of you folks read Bill Simmons back when he used to write stuff before he just decided he was just going to be a podcaster and a media mogul. I'm old enough to remember, and Bill Simmons has been around long enough that I remember reading his columns in high school. I would read his columns during my off periods as a junior or senior in high school. Like Bill Simmons is a formative media voice and one of the voices that shaped my own media career. One of my biggest influences in a lot of ways. So I'm not totally dogging Bill Simmons. I wish he would write more. Not a writer anymore. Okay, that's fine. But when he was a writer, I don't remember the context where it came up, but he wrote about players who are irrational confidence guys. And the irrational confidence player is one that isn't the best player on the court, but thinks he is all the time. And Melvin Council has that in him. Melvin Council's the irrational confidence guy for this Kansas team. That's not to say he's a bad player. He's emphatically not a bad player, but he carries himself like a superstar, like you're not going to beat him. He feeds off of the crowd barking at him at Allen Fieldhouse. That's the kind of confidence that makes you hard to beat, especially when you compare that down the stretch with the entirely rational confidence of a player in Darryn Peterson who has been the best player on every basketball court he's ever stepped on. And that included last night. And when you have a guy who is that confident, 3 for 12 is not going to keep him from shooting that 13th shot out of the corner, off balance, with two defenders in the vicinity. He's not going to not take that shot in that spot because his team needs him to take that shot in that spot. And Peterson knew it. I think he knew he had to score down the stretch if Kansas was going to win that game. Because I did think when he came back in the second half, he drifted a little bit. He wasn't all the way into the game on offense. He wasn't super impactful. He didn't touch the ball a ton. He didn't do a lot of creating. He wasn't crashing the glass. He was just sort of there, just kind of buying his time. Like, okay, I'm on the fringes of this game right now, but when it's time to go win, I'll be there. And that was Darryn Peterson. That was what was so impressive about him last night, that he could have an off night and it did not matter when it mattered. If that makes sense. Like 3 for 12 did not matter a bit to Darryn Peterson when he rose up for those 13th and 14th shots. He knew those were going in. He's been the best basketball player in every court he's been on probably since he was in diapers. So when you couple that confidence with some of that irrational confidence that a guy like Melvin Council gives you, and you have a team that's just not beat. They are not beat. You have to kill those guys. And Texas Tech had the chance, but the well-ran drive from 3, and they kept hoisting them up, and ended up going 12 of 40 on the night. You know, KU and Tech ended up shooting the same percentage from 3 on the night. Just double the volume for Tech. KU was 6 of 20. Tech was 12 of 40. They had the chance to bury Kansas. They didn't do it, and they regretted it because you better kill those guys. You better make sure they're dead. That's a mentally tough basketball team. That's the kind of team I associate. That's the kind of win in particular that I associate with championship basketball at Kansas. Speaking of, can they win a championship this year? They control their own destiny in the Big 12. And I think they might have a little bit of a schedule advantage too. We'll break it down when we come back, talk about the state of the Big 12 race right now as it stands. On the other side of this timeout here on 580 Sports Talk. 3:43 on 580 Sports Talk. Get to some thoughts from the live chat on our YouTube stream, 580 Sports Talk. Tyler says, I hated Peterson not being able to play full games, but now that I see he's the next Jordan, I don't mind as much. I'm just happy the Mamba is wearing crimson and blue. It is insane to compare anyone to Kobe Bryant. I want to start there. It is insane to do that. Absolutely off your rocker nuts to see a 17, 18, 19-year-old basketball player and confidently say, yeah, there's a little Kobe Bryant there. You're talking about one of the most unique and gifted and one of the greatest players in NBA history. Even though I think some of y'all overrate Kobe Bryant. Like, he's not a top 10 player of all time, top 20 comfortably. But some of y'all put him in the Jordan conversation. My generation, or a little younger. I guess it's probably a little younger. But I saw Jordan when I was a kid. If you didn't see Jordan when you were a kid, you put Kobe up there with Jordan, you're nuts. You're out of your mind. Stop it. Get some help. But it's insane to compare anybody to Kobe Bryant. But every time I watch Darryn Peterson, I'm like, yeah, I kind of see where people are coming from. Like, I have trouble describing it, which is a hell of a problem, right? Because that's sort of my job, to use words to describe things. And I have trouble describing what exactly it is that I see from Peterson that is so unique and special. And the way I end up saying it, I was talking to somebody at someone at the media row at the KU BYU game. And I said, Peterson just has this ability to just glide. It's like he's not touching the basketball court. It's just the smoothness and the economy of motion, and nothing looks hard for him. Like a lot of guys, you play hard and you can sense like the effort that is required to make a play or to make a shot or to drive into contact. You can like sense it. You can see it. Darryn Peterson, it all just feels really, really easy and really, really smooth. Is there like a bird that can run and just like glide above water, or like a duck or something, and like just the feet are touching the water, but you can't really, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know, man. I'm not National Geographic here. I'm just saying it's hard to explain, but there is something about Darryn Peterson's movement that is so unhurried and so effortless looking. And that's the way the great ones look. So I get it. I do. I get why you would say that. Even if I might think you're a little crazy for saying it, I get why you are saying it. Chasing Good Golf, welcome into the chat. We used to have names and not just handles, and that's, maybe a little clunky to say, but welcome to the chat. CGGG says, Kobe is and was better than LeBron any day. First of all, I'm going to disagree with that entirely. That is not correct. No. LeBron James, so much better than, like, come on, man. LeBron went to 10 finals. 6'8", built like a Sherman tank, could do everything, could guard center. Could Kobe guard a center? No, never in a million years. Anyway, also from C Triple G, last two games I've seen from KU, they could win the whole thing. They could win the dance. If 35-minute-a-night Darryn Peterson is what you are going to get, I do think that the ceiling is a berth in the Final Four, a trip to Indy for this Kansas team. I think we have seen that now. I think we have seen how great he can be in enough glimpses that if instead of glimpses, you get a whole ball game full of it, and you get in the NCAA tournament, you play 2 games in 3 days, and then you get a week off, essentially. I think that's a format that could really benefit Darryn Peterson and keep the cramps away and keep him in ball games for 30-plus minutes. And when he's out there for 30-plus minutes, this feels like a team that congeals well enough and has enough high-end talent to make that deep kind of run. And y'all are killing me for my thoughts on Kobe. He's not top 10 all time to me. We're going to have to do this. We got a long summer ahead. But Kobe is not top 10. He's not a top 10 player in the history of the NBA. Come on, let's be real here. Not greater than Jordan. He's not greater than LeBron. I'm sorry, he's not. He's not greater than Wilt Chamberlain. He's not greater than Kareem. He's not greater than Bird. He's not greater than Magic. He's not greater than Tim Duncan. That's the thing about Kobe Bryant. Was Kobe Bryant ever once the best player in the NBA? For his entire career, was he ever the best player in the NBA? Like, did he ever have a year where he was, oh, yeah, he's got the title belt. He's the best player in the NBA? I say no. Because when he broke in, it was still Jordan, right? Drafted in 96, so it was still Jordan. Then it was probably Shaq. Then it was Duncan. Then it was LeBron, and it was LeBron for like a decade and a half. LeBron was the best player in the NBA for a decade and a half. Kobe Bryant was never once the best player in the NBA. Argue with your mom. I want to get to the Big 12 title race here real quick. What I give you? I only gave you six. I only gave you six guys above him in the top 10. Jokic, obviously, greatest offensive player in the history of the game. Better than Kobe. I'd take Jokic over Kobe. Wouldn't think twice. Who else could I put on that list? Oscar, Big O, got to. Elgin Baylor, probably better. Jerry West. Is he a top 5 Laker of all time? Please be real about Kobe Bryant. He's not a top 5 Laker of all time. Shaq, Magic, Kareem, Elgin, Jerry West. How can he be a top 10? How can he be top 5 all time? He's not a top 5 Laker of all time. All right. Not better than Bill Russell. I'm going to get upset. Let's move on. Let's talk about the thing I did want to talk about. So Kansas controls their own destiny in the Big 12 title race. They're 2 games back of Arizona, but they play Arizona twice. They get them on Big Monday next Monday. Plan to be in the building for that one. We'll have an instant reaction late that night. And we'll talk about it, of course, on next Tuesday's show. Then they go to Tucson later in the year. But other than those 2 games and a road trip to Iowa State and a home game against Houston, also Big Monday, where KU is well nigh unbeatable at Allen Fieldhouse. Those 4 games are the only ones in the last 9 where KU plays a top half team in the Big 12. Top half of the league standings right now. Arizona 9-0, Houston at 7-1, Iowa State and Kansas both 7-2, UCF and Tech are both 6-3, BYU's 5-3, West Virginia's 5-4. Those are the 8 teams with a winning record in the league right now. KU's only got 4 games of their 9 left against that group. That's a huge advantage because Arizona's got 6. They got the 2 with Kansas. They got Tech at home. They got BYU at home. They got Iowa State at home, and they go to Houston. So 4 of them at home for Arizona is a big advantage. Also an advantage, they appear to be the best team in the country. But they got to play 6 of their last 9 against the upper crust in the league. Houston's got to play 5 of their last 10. They're only 7-1. They've got a game against UCF left. They got road trips to BYU, Iowa State, and Kansas, and they're at home against Arizona. Iowa State's got 5 of their last 9 against the top of the league. Kansas, Houston, and Tech at home. BYU and Arizona on the road. You know who's got a cake schedule and is probably going to make the NCAA tournament if they don't play with their food? West Virginia. They're 5-4 in the league. They've only got 4 games left against the top half of the league, and 3 of them are home. And the road games at UCF. So if they can beat Tech, BYU, and UCF. So they're done with the top 4 in the league. They don't play Arizona, Houston, Iowa State, or Kansas again. Like West Virginia should win 10 games in the league, get them into the that gets them to the dance. They could win 11 in the league. You're dancing. But Kansas controls their own destiny, and they've got some very difficult games left. But you could argue it's an easier back half of the schedule than Arizona, Houston, or Iowa State have. Doors ajar for Bill Self and the Jayhawks to reclaim that Big 12 title. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up this 3 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. 354 on 580 Sports Talk. Good KU discussion here in this opening hour. We're going to talk a little Super Bowl 60 in the 4 o'clock hour, and we'll talk more Jayhawks with Michael Swain of Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Jayhawk Weekly coming up, bottom of the hour. Andrew in the live chat on YouTube. Dan's just hating to hate. I want to know his basis for saying Kobe isn't a top 10 player of all time. There's 10 better players than Kobe Bryant all time. You want me to do it again? LeBron? Kareem? Wilt? MJ? Obviously, you put Kobe over Jordan. Come on. You got to be 16 years old if you think that's the case. So those four, obviously, probably top 4 players of all time right there. I got Shaq. I have Bill Russell. I got Tim Duncan. I got Magic. I got Bird. And I got Oscar Robertson. And I got Elgin Baylor. And I got Jerry West. I can keep going. I got Charles Barkley better than Kobe. You could argue Dirk was better than Kobe. I think by the time's all said and done, Steph Curry better than Kobe. Nikola Jokic better than Kobe. Kevin Durant. I'd take Durant over Kobe. I don't care about rings. That's if all you want to do is talk to me about rings, well then okay, then let's start the conversation with Bill Russell. But we never start the conversation with Bill Russell. Greatest winner in the history of basketball, but we never start the conversation with him. Because rings aren't everything. We don't say a guy was a worse player because he had bad teammates. So yeah, Kobe about 15th. 15 to 20 in that range all time. He's not a bum. I'm not sitting here saying he's a bum. Just saying there's 10, 15 players in NBA history pretty clearly better than he was. Tyler in the YouTube live chat. Mamba mentality about being a dog. Mamba mentality was a marketing ploy to try and make y'all forgot Kobe caught a rape charge. That's what that was. That's what Mamba mentality was. And the number change, too. Oh, wow, they had to retire 2 numbers for Kobe. Yeah, why'd he switch? What happened? Anything happened in the early 2000s that y'all don't want to talk about? Y'all don't want to talk about that. You want to talk about Kobe the girl dad. What was going on in the early 2000s made him have to change his number and change his branding? Why did he lose the Sprite deal? Just nobody wants to talk about that. All forgotten to history. So yes, did I not like Kobe Bryant as a player? No, I never liked Kobe Bryant as a player. I can admit he's a top 20 player of all time. That's easy for me. Greatness is greatness. But come on. I take John Havlicek over Kobe, probably. Havlicek for sure. Maybe Artis Gilmore probably ranks above Kobe. Dan Issel. Oh, the horse. Yeah, got to put David Thompson. Julius Erving, absolutely. That's not even joking. Julius Erving, better player than Kobe. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. See how far you can prod me into, see how many different NBA guys you can prod me into saying we're better than Kobe Bryant, just to troll y'all. But we're going to talk Super Bowl 60, the potential hidden heroes and villains of the matchup between the Patriots and the Seahawks, plus Michael Swain. And what is wrong with you on 580 Sports Talk?
meteorologist. Currently, it's 38 degrees.
Did the camera get flipped in here?
Why we get flipped?
I don't know, but this is the reverse angle of how I'm usually facing on the camera.
No. Maybe you've got it mirrored. So let's get it. Number 2, 580 Sports Talk on this Tuesday afternoon. Thanks so much for being with us here on 580 WIBW FM 104.9 online at 580WIBW.com and Ian Living Keller on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. Dan Lucero, Brendan Rosinski with you this hour. I will be off this hour to Highland Park for Tuesday night movie. We got a 580 press tonight. Corporate pressure to occur in Highland Park, Washington for coach all we'll have that action tonight, and we'll look forward to bringing the ball.
Look forward to having good old Lat with me in Highland Park. That's one of his favorite places, place near and dear to his heart. He was an assistant coach there for some time. So
I need to interrupt. I believe our audio is fixed on the YouTube stream. It was down for a moment. I believe it's fixed now.
okay.
Also,
I wanted the people to hear you, so I was kind of babbling until we got that ironed
no,
out.
I do appreciate that. I really do, to break my guy Andrew's heart in the YouTube comments. I might hate Kobe Bryant more than Dan.
Ooh, spicy.
I don't know that Kobe's the top 15 player of all time. I don't know if he's top 20 player of all time.
Put Gary Payton probably ahead of him. John Stockton, David Robinson.
John Salmons had some great years.
Okay. That's just a guy.
Do not look me in the eyes and tell me John Salmons was just a guy.
I call him Salmons.
He pronounced the L.
He did. He did. I never did. He did. I never did.
I
don't know. I really don't know how we got. We were talking about the nonsense, but also the totally understandable comparisons that people make to Kobe Bryant for Darryn Peterson when you watch him play.
Oh yeah, no, it's very very comparable.
You can see it's absurd because look, we're being haters over here, but Kobe Bryant isn't all-time great. Like top 20 player in history in the NBA. There's been a lot of NBA players, man.
Yeah, no, anywhere in that 10 to 20 ranges, I think it. And you want to put him in the top 10? Sure. Most people my age appear to. I did not know until he had died how many people loved Kobe Bryant, to be honest with you. That was news to me. I had friends who I've known my whole life. Like, what the hell did you become a Kobe fan? What are you talking about?
Christopher wants to know if you would also rank Cliff Levingston and Brad Sellers above Kobe Bryant.
Brad Sellers, absolutely.
I would put Alex English and Fat Lever above Kobe Bryant. The Fat Man.
That's a good one.
If we're doing 80s legends on our own favorite teams.
Yeah, that's fair. Johnny Red Kerr, I think, has a real argument.
Dikembe Mutombo, great defense player. I mean, Kobe couldn't hold his
Kobe as
shot
good at anything as Mutombo was at blocking shots?
Did he have anything as cool as the finger wag?
No, well, no one did.
Yeah,
no
that's true. Nobody
Jordan
in the
shrug, and that's it.
And the finger wag. Yeah, R.I.P. Dikembe.
What a legend.
Absolutely.
Great guy.
All-time great. Anyway, Brendan's here. I'm here. Spencer Dupree will be here in a little bit.
Speaking of KU, real quick.
Oh, yeah. I wanted your opinion on the Kansas victory last night because it felt like there for a while. Every time we were getting you in the studio, it was after KU had lost.
Yeah, I'm very thankful we've moved on from that. Glad football season's over. No doubt about that. So here's my official thought on that KU game last night. I'm looking at the area surrounding Lucas Oil Stadium right now. What do you think sounds better for April? To stay cheaper and go to the Holiday Inn Express, or stay a couple blocks farther away and do the Crowne Plaza for a hotel for the Final Four?
I think you stay. I think you stay about 45 minutes out in Greencastle, home of the DePauw University Tigers. You avoid the riffraff. There's a lovely
cheaper.
There's a lovely Super 8 in Cloverdale right off the exit. Yeah.
Gonna have to stay in Fort Wayne and commute to Final Four media.
I have no idea if that Super 8 is still. I haven't been back to Greencastle in 16 years.
That was the kind of game. And look, there's another huge one coming up.
18 years.
But frankly, that huge one coming up on Monday against Arizona, not that it's like a house money game, but beating BYU and Texas Tech with that latter one coming on the road, Arizona doesn't feel like a must-have or you're cooked kind of game. So you do have a little bit of leeway there. Hopefully you can just stomp Utah on Saturday and move on quickly from that one.
You feel like if you split with Arizona, you've got a chance. Because, Because, if Arizona goes 17-1 or 16-2, you tip your cap. That wins the Big 12 every year.
Yeah.
But they've got other tough games, too. They got to go to Houston. Tech, BYU, and Iowa State are coming to town for them. So, yeah, it's not all like 6 of their last 9 are against top 4 teams in the conference.
I said this to a coworker of ours.
8 teams because BYU is just outside the top 4.
Right. Earlier today, though, it feels like in these last couple of games, and I know DP didn't play much more than a simple majority of the game against BYU, but it really does feel like this KU. We are starting to see the coalescence of KU when Darryn Peterson is the sun and the moon, and KU when they do not have him at all. And it's all starting to click. And you're starting to see, yes, this is not the most talented team Bill Self has ever had. And frankly, it's not close to one of the best. And honestly, in terms of just raw talent, I don't think the most recent national championship team was even in the top 3, maybe even 4.
No,
this team is behind that one.
Yeah, that team ended up with 3 pros and not an all-star in the bunch?
No.
Yeah. I mean, I love Christian Brown.
I will take like a really good all-star.
But I will take the under on career all-star appearances for Brown, Wilson, Abaji.
Yes, I agree. I do love Jalen Wilson.
But
you're totally right.
You're a long way from even the 2010 Jayhawks had 4 lottery picks.
And this team you have a number 1 overall pick. You have a guy who will get drafted in Flory, especially now that, you can defend 4 spots on the floor. That's new and just brilliant by Bill Self. Truly brilliant coaching by one of the greatest to ever do it. And everybody's got a role and everybody does it well. And as a downhill, in-your-face driver and a defensive bulldog, you got Counsell. Trey White can be a little shaky at times on offense, but man, he's tough as hell. Bryson Tiller's your 5th best player.
Yeah.
And as long as he's giving you anything defensively along with the scoring, I know he didn't score a ton yesterday, but he had some good defensive possessions.
10 boards.
That's a good player.
10 boards and 4 assists. He
Awesome.
was additive to winning last night, even though the shot wasn't falling.
So this is a good team. Again, there's not the top end talent that an Arizona had. That they can beat Arizona, but thank goodness it's not the NBA. 7 games.
Arizona has
I'm taking Michigan.
Lottery picks, plural,
multiple. But 1 game sample, KU I think can hang with anyone, and I think this KU team is good enough. Like we put in our tier ranking 2 weeks ago, this is a team that should be in contention to go to a Final Four.
It was cool to see what it really looks like against a quality opponent with Darryn Peterson playing a whole game.
I've got nothing against Texas Tech. I've got nothing against Texas Tech fans. In fact, I like that Tech fans are so passionate. That is not the guy I would call the P word, friends. I would not be chanting that word I was actually just to our boss's wife was in the office earlier today. She's a big KU fan. And I asked if she saw the game and heard what the fans were chanting at him. And she said, I would not have poked the bear. I said, I wouldn't poke the bear. I would not poke that bear.
No.
Because that dude is going to scratch your eyes out. That's the kind of bear he is.
He's the best player on the court, and he knows it. And,
dude, he went goblin mode when he heard that, man. It's over. You are fried, Tech.
Yeah, that was something else.
That's awesome. That was fun, man. That was really fun. Which is funny because we were very much trending toward that's kind of disappointing. That's the first time we've seen DP be kind of bad. Because I thought Tech's defense on him was great for most of the night.
They forced so many mid-range jumpers, off-balance mid-range jumpers, and Peterson's capable of making those, but he didn't last night.
And then he just decided, I'm going to win this game.
He did.
Which the truly great ones can do. And it's clear he's that type of player.
Yeah, there ain't no doubt about that. So that is a little bit more on KU's win last night. We're going to get even more into it with Michael Swain of Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. He'll join us at the bottom of this hour for Jayhawk Weekly. We'll get Michael's perspective on the show. We will also have What Is Wrong With You coming up in a bit. We're going to talk a little Super Bowl 60 here as well. Want to hear from you on the text line, 785-272-9429, and on the YouTube live chat on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. I was wondering what name would get somebody's GOAT that I threw out there and said was better than Kobe Bryant, and I have an answer from the 785. Anyone who says Artis Gilmore is better than Kobe has an invalid list. Listen, that is the all-time win shares leader in ABA history, Artis Gilmore you're talking about. A good player, great player, Hall of Famer. Yeah, probably not better than Kobe Bryant. Probably not. I stand by Dan Issel, though, the horse.
Good player. Alex English, great player. South Carolina, great. One of
That's right.
3 good players to ever come from that school.
Shout out to Kiki Vandeweghe and Calvin Nat while we're doing 80s Nuggets. Anyway, let's talk some Super Bowl, shall we? Super Bowl 60 coming up on Sunday. It's the Seahawks and the Patriots. And yeah, the game is about the quarterbacks in the sense that there probably isn't a version of the game that the Patriots win where Drake May isn't at least really good, which he has not been yet in the playoffs. And I mean, they've won 3 games where he hasn't been very good, but this opponent is a bit of a different animal. And any version of this game that includes a Seahawks loss, that ends up a Seahawks loss, probably includes a rough game for Sam Darnold. Patriots are going to have to turn him over, going to have to turn one of his turnover-worthy throws, which I don't know how the hell they figure that stat. All I know is the top 2 quarterbacks in that stat this last year, Josh Allen was number 2 and Sam Darnold was number 1. Turnover-worthy throws. Sam Darnold had the most in the league. So, yes, the quarterbacks are going to have an outsized impact on how this game goes, and that's always the case. But what are the potential hidden heroes and maybe potential villains? We used to say goats for, guys who get blamed. Now that meaning of that word has completely changed. What a glow up for the animal, the goat. Used to be associated with failure. Now is associated with all-time greatness.
Hell, there's now a Steph Curry animated movie about a goat.
Like a real goat.
Yes. Good for goats. Good animal. Great animal.
Anyway, yeah, I'm not very good at making the goat sound distinct from the sheep sound with my son.
Ooh, see, I've worked on that one. I think I could do a decent differentiation with that one.
We got the cheat code. If we're in the basement, he wants to hear the animal sounds. We just ask Google. We got one of those Google speakers, and I can go, hey, Google, what is... Google probably thinks everybody who lives in our house is 3 years old because all we ever ask Google is, what does a fire truck say? We don't even say, what sound does a fire truck make? What does the fire truck say? What does a shark say?
I will tell you this. The animal I can't do, it's one of my favorites. I can't do an elephant. I can't. It just sounds like crap every time. My poor daughter has no idea what an elephant sounds like. That's better than I can do.
Got to get the arm in there.
Yeah, you do have to do the arm.
You do have to do the arm.
That's a no-doubter.
Yeah. Asher's pretty good at that one, too. Anyway, who are the hidden heroes and villains potentially of the Super Bowl? Who are the players outside of the quarterback position that you think could either swing the game further in the direction of the favored Seahawks or swing it in the direction of an upset for the Patriots? I'll start with the Patriots. The one guy that as a Seahawks fan I'm terrified of in Super Bowl 60 is Milton Williams. That's the one guy. Because interior pass rush is how you get Sam Darnold to start chopping his feet in the pocket and start putting the ball at risk over the middle of the field. It's how you can blow up the run game. It's how you can make the play action game difficult. Also, Seattle's guards, Gray Zabel's been good as a rookie, for a rookie has been excellent. Anthony Bradford is the worst player in the NFL, and he starts at right guard for the Seahawks. That matchup in particular on obvious passing downs is terrifying to me because I know how good Milton Williams can be. We've seen him be good in a big game last year when he was part of that group of Eagles pass rushers that just totally wrecked the Chiefs offense. That's the guy for me that, that would be worth a long shot bet on Super Bowl MVP to me. Like if he comes away with like 2 sacks or a forced fumble or, a deflected pass turns into an interception, that's probably how the Patriots win. That's the guy for me. I know Christian Barmore's real good up front too.
Yep.
But Patriots have a good secondary. The guys who make plays in the secondary, you have to give them a chance to make plays. Are you going to play man all day? I don't know that that's what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to play zone all day? I think that's definitely not what you want to do. Like, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't against a receiver as good as Jackson Smith and Jigba. But allowing them to make plays, that's going to be the domain of, I think, in particular, Milton Williams, the most dangerous defensive player, I think, in the game for the Patriots.
There was a lot of talk when he signed that huge contract with New England this offseason. It's one of the biggest New England has ever signed, if not the biggest, that, like, whoa, he's good. But, I mean, that whole Eagles defensive line was good. How much of that was him last year? Is a defensive tackle who's not an elite pass rusher worth that? Yes, worth it. I know he missed some time injured. He has been incredible. There's a very clear on-off split from before and after he returned from his injury of the Patriots defense taking a major step forward. So he's been huge. And yeah, I'm with you. I think I told you this the other day. I think on like first and second down, you are going to see Milton Williams over Anthony Bradford pretty much every snap. And on any third and medium or third and long, they will flip and put Christian Barmore over him because Barmore has a little more pass rush juice, but is not quite as stout against the run. Williams is just great all around. He's like a B+ pass rusher as opposed to an A-. I think you'll put Barmore over him when you try to get after the quarterback. It's the damnedest thing with this Seahawks team. Like, if you had an average right guard on that team, your worst offensive player is like Kenneth Walker. Like, that's how good that team is and can be. There's just, and like 10 guys are really, really good. And that line is still pretty good.
Yeah, you can work around a weakness on the offensive line. Aaron Stemmey started at guard for the Buccaneers in Super Bowl 55, and he stunk.
Yeah.
But you know who we weren't talking about at the end of that game? Aaron Stemmey. You know who we were talking about? All the bummy linemen that the Chiefs rolled out there to try and keep poor Patrick Mahomes upright.
Because they've got good tackle plays. Zabel is awesome. They've got solid center. Like, it's a good line, even with Bradford. Without him, like, whoa, that's a really good group. So I'm right there with you with that Patriots defensive line. Sticking with another Pat here, I'm going to give you Christian Gonzalez as well, who's awesome. Like,
very good player.
Hasn't been talked about with Stingley and with Surtain because the Patriots have kind of stunk even with him in the last couple of years and until this year. He's really good, man. He's sticky in coverage. Now, the thing is, I don't think you're going to see him, quote unquote, travel with Jackson Smith and Jigba because JSN's going to run a lot out of the slot.
They'll run him out of the backfield.
Yeah,
they will move JSN all night. That is not going to be a one-on-one for the entirety of the night.
And you're not really maximizing Gonzalez if you're doing that because, frankly, I mean, he's a great outside corner. You can use him in the slot, but he's the best outside. So, spin zone of that, you almost have to take sorry to go back to the NBA here, you almost have to take the 2015 Warriors versus LeBron. Like, all right, LeBron's going to score. LeBron might score 80. The rest of the team scoring 5, though, and we're going to beat them. And that's what worked. That got Andre Iguodala finals MVP.
It sure
which
did.
is nonsense. But
of course it was.
All right, JSN's going to get his, and he's only going to be matched up on Gonzalez for 20% of his snaps. Gonzo's got to take whoever that other receiver is, you take him away. Like, you need to, if you know JSN's going to get his, and he will because he's that good, okay, you can only allow him to use 2/3 of the field. Like, that other third that Gonzalez is in, you need to completely lock that down. That is the best way the Patriots, I think, can contain JSN in this game, who himself has emerged as the top 5 wide receiver in this league over the course of the season. That's the way to do it. You need Gonzalez to be great, whatever his matchup ends up being, because if JSN is running the entire route tree 53 1/3 yards across the field, I just don't know what you're able to do. So you need Gonzalez to lock down what he's got to give your other guys some chance, bring some bracket help, have some cloud coverage, whatever it is, just to try to limit him as much as possible.
Yeah, you have to double him. And I know that's going to be a big talking point coming in. Like, well, the Patriots have, a good defensive scheme. They've got good corners. They can double JSN. You think they're the first team that's tried it? Like,
right.
Who are the other pass catchers for the Seahawks this year? Cooper Kupp A.J. Barner's been their lead man at tight end, and Rashid Shaheed, who has one catch in the playoffs. The thing, though, about Kupp, he's been awesome down the stretch. Like, he did not produce for most of the season. He has been indispensable in this postseason. He was immense in the game against the Rams in the NFC Championship game. If he is capable of producing, if he can have some big third down chain moving catches, that's probably part of how Seattle controls the game. If they're able to keep moving the sticks, and it doesn't have to be JSN through the air. I'll give you a defensive player that I think for Seattle is going to be pretty vital. And really, it's a position. It's the ends. It's the edge rushers for Seattle. So Boye Mafe, DeMarcus Lawrence, shout out Butler Community College, Chenna Nwosu, and Derek Hall. Those four up against Patriots tackles that have not been able to keep Drake May clean the entire postseason. Will Campbell, the rookie left tackle in particular, has been terrible. Absolutely terrible in this postseason. If Seattle is able to keep fresh bodies rolling in and keep pressure on Drake May, I don't know that the Patriots will be able to score enough. That's the matchup I feel the best about is, like, the Patriots, their entire playoff run, their offense has struggled. And yes, there have been weather-related circumstances there, but also the circumstances of playing against teams with really good edge rushers. Like, the Chargers have a good pass rush. The Texans have a great pass rush. The Broncos led the league in sacks. Seattle's rush is pretty excellent too. And if they can continue to keep the stick in the bicycle spokes of the Patriots offense, this Seattle offense will be better than any offense that New England's had to deal with in the playoffs.
One name I wanted to give you as well for Seattle, well, another Patriot. I hate to keep going back to the Patriots, but one on offense for them. And I think it's kind of a one-on-one matchup with the other side of the ball here. And I'm trying to find who I saw post this online. I thought it was a great idea, and I unfortunately can't find it to give credit. I think it was Matt St. Jean of Pat's Pulpit who posted this, though. Ramondre Stevenson, important in the run game and the passing game. Him as a receiver has been very useful for the Patriots. You know who they've got to block? Nicky Manwari, who's I will admit, I cannot believe he's a good NFL player. And not just good. I mean, he's unbelievable in what they have done. And it's a credit to Mike McDonald and a credit to him for the hard work. I thought he was going to be your classic workout warrior. Like, his tape from South Carolina, I like that football team. I've got family who's been there. I've watched a lot of them. It's like, this dude ain't an NFL player. Like, this dude is, I don't want to say he's not smart, but it's like,
crazy athlete, but very raw in terms of football IQ.
Athlete, not football player. Let me put it that way.
Sure.
Like, I thought that was what he was. As Charles McDonald of Yahoo put it, I can give you this for sure. Why does a dude with these testing numbers and that size fall to the second round?
Right.
Like, that should be a top 10 pick, not mid-second round or whatever it is he went in on day 2. He's been incredible. They're going to blitz him. They are going to try to get pressure on Drake May. It's something Eamon Warrior is very good at. They put him in a lot of different situations where he can get home. Those running backs have to be really good. Now, if Stevenson and to a lesser degree Travion Henderson are able to get to him and stop that and protect well, that's going to help out Drake May a lot. If they cannot, May is going to be under siege all day. Because if they find, like, all right, well, we can get Eamon Warrior home. What can we do when we don't have him if their running backs are just getting destroyed all the time? And okay, shoot, even if they can block the other blitzers, but they can't get him, we're just going to keep sending him because we've got enough talent in the back 6, back 7 that we're going to lock him down anyway. That would be my number one thing for the Patriots, is that is such a weapon for Seattle's defense. And, like, I guess that's a defensive coordinator and a defensive play caller thing for me. Like, how do you get the blitzes home? But the Seahawks have been great at that when they've done it this year. So Patriots run pass pro, huge.
One last thing I want to say quick, was we're overdue for a break, but Mark B lands on it in the YouTube live chat. Both teams really good in the return game. Marcus Jones for the Patriots, Rashid Shaheed for the Seahawks, both potential game breakers. These are two teams that, unless the running game is clicking, and for New England, it rarely does. For Seattle, they got a little better chance to run the ball just generally. But if the running game isn't working, these are teams that have had trouble driving the ball 70 yards into the end zone, unless they get explosive plays. Explosive plays are going to be a big part of this Super Bowl. The Patriots generated more on a per-snap basis than any other team in the league. Seahawks were in the top 5 in that category as well. But you also generate explosive plays on special teams. Marcus Jones, big-time returner. Rashid Shaheed, obviously, you saw how he opened the divisional playoff game against the 49ers. Seattle's all-around special teams is terrific. Do they take the chance of kicking it to Marcus Jones and covering the kicks? Do the Patriots decide they don't want any part of the Shaheed experience and just bang it out of the back of the end zone? Gives the Seahawks a ball at the 35 on every kickoff. I think that is that third phase is going to be, I think, produce at least one big play that is very telling in this game.
I want to give you one element I think is bigger than the kickoff game. It's the punt game. Michael Dixon this season, number 2 in the NFL in expected points added as a punter. Okay?
Hell yeah.
Only behind Daniel Whelan of the Packers, who's awesome. What is it? Brooks Behringer? Behringer? Bryce, whatever. Behringer for the...
he almost cost the Patriots the AFC Championship
Awful
game.
In the AFC Championship game. 9th worst. 24th in the league in the NFL in EPA per punt. And, like, way below average. The worst of the worst is really far down there. He's pretty far down there. They might not have an option to kick it away from Shaheed in the punt game. That, to me, would be a bigger worry for the Patriots.
I knew we'd talk about punters with Brendan.
You're damn right.
I knew we'd get there
to win.
I'm headed out to the pressure cooker for 580 Preps Tuesday Night Hoops between Highland Park and Washington. I'll talk to you all then. Brendan and Spencer have What Is Wrong With You. There's more 580 Sports Talk, including Michael Swain, coming up after this.
What is wrong with you time here on 580 Sports Talk on this Tuesday afternoon. Brendan Dworzinski here with you. And so is Spencer Dupuis joining us in studio for What is Wrong with You today. What's up, buddy?
I made my daily appearance. I am alive.
We love to see it. All right, we've got two new stories going head-to-head today. Our current winner for the week, the gentleman who passed $300 in counterfeit bills to buy flowers and chocolates for his stripper love interest. Heart was in the right place. His morals were not. All right, Spence, why don't you go first today in a quick round of What is Wrong with You?
Yeah, we're going to go to Florida. A Cuban national is accused of stealing nearly $4,000 worth of meat from Florida grocery stores and throwing nearly all of it away after catching his girlfriend cooking with another man.
Uh-oh.
Renee, 30 of Jacksonville, was caught on surveillance footage on January 5th stealing an assortment of meats from two separate Publix stores. He made off with $1,574 worth of beef and lamb from the Bell Terry Crossing Publix. Less than 20 minutes later, he stole $2,084 worth of pork, top sirloin, brisket, tenderloin, and personal care products from another Publix at the Palm Coast. Detectives identified him in both thefts. He told authorities that after his stealing spree, he drove to his girlfriend's house only to find she was there cooking with another man. Upon discovery, he tossed most of the stolen meat. Authorities say he is a Cuban national. He was arrested for felony theft. He was transported to Sheriff Perry Hall Inmate Detention Center. He's held on $5,000 bond.
Yikes. And immigration forces are now on his case. Probably wouldn't want that if I was Mr. Reyna.
The whole thing doesn't make sense, though, because he didn't throw it at them. He just threw it away.
I think he was going to cook with her.
Yeah.
And then she was like, nah, I'd rather cook with my side piece.
But why we need that much? That's way too much food, man.
I mean, if you're going to steal some, you might as well steal all of it, I guess.
Yeah, but he should have thrown it at the dude. Like, that would have made more sense,
yeah,
right?
Might as well get your money's worth, right?
Yeah.
For my story today, we've got a quick one here. A Florida teen, 19-year-old Najir Hines, was arrested after he was going so fast on I-4 in Florida that his motorcycle caught on fire. At one point, he was caught by a radar gun going 130 miles an hour in a 65 zone. For those of you keeping score at home, that's twice the speed limit. Deputy activated his siren and emergency lights to stop him, but the rider didn't slow down. Because it was so fast, the cop actually let him go. He stopped pursuit. Later on, dispatch reported a motorcycle on fire near mile marker 52. The deputy arrived and found the black Honda motorcycle and its rider, Haynes, wearing a black hoodie, and the motorcycle was on fire. Haynes told the deputy he was going to his uncle's house and had stopped to fuel up at a 7-Eleven. The deputy then confirmed no other motorcycles passed through the area during that time, and there were no exits between the previous 2 mile markers. The investigation concluded Haynes was the rider who fled the stop at a dangerous speed and whose motorcycle fire was caused by a malfunction while he was going 130 miles an hour. Due to a new super speeder law in Florida, by the way, this is a criminal offense, not a traffic violation. Yeah. Tough break for Najir. Who you got today, Spence?
I got to go with my story. The guy just stole a bunch of meat, got mad because he saw his girl with another man cooking, and then he threw it away.
Yeah, just so wasteful.
Yeah.
Go donate it to someone, and then, be mad about your girlfriend cheating on you. Yeah, that's a bad one. Does that beat the guy buying counterfeit gifts for his stripper girlfriend?
I don't think so, man.
No, I think that one stays. Yeah. I like that one a lot. It'll stay. That is still our winner for the week in What is Wrong with You. Michael Swain joins us next on 580 Sports Talk. Joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline, as he does every week at this time, it's the great Michael Swain. He covers all things Kansas Jayhawks for Fog.net and 24/7 Sports. Go be a VIP if you're not already to get all the best inside scoops into what's going on with KU. Michael, I brought this up on the show earlier, but I wanted to ask you. I figured you were a great source for this. So in the wake of last night's KU win over Texas Tech, I'm currently looking at the hotel situation in Indianapolis, Indiana for the first full week of April. Are we thinking the Holiday Inn Express near the Lucas Oil Stadium facility or the Crown Plaza a couple weeks away, Final Four week?
Any good Marriott's around there? I'm kind of a big, loyalty guy. Got to get up on the points, all that stuff. So if you find a good Marriott branch, let me know. I might go in on you with it.
I got to be honest. That's like the most sports writer thing I've ever heard you say. Your Marriott loyalty. No, I'm just giving you a hard time. But obviously, great win for KU last night. Michael, if I was a Texas Tech fan or student, I probably wouldn't have used that chant at that dude wearing crimson and blue last night.
Well, it's like KU, the KU students that chanted overrated AJ DeVance on Saturday. It's like, you really want to poke the bear here? You sure you want to do that?
Mm-hmm.
And man, did Darryn make him pay? That was, it's one of those things where I don't know if other KU fans or beat writers or people who talk about the team feel this way about it, but it felt like, Darren's had good games, but maybe has there been like the moment, where he either, just in the clutch just comes through, and it felt like TCU maybe was the closest thing to that. And then you get to last night and down the stretch, right? Of course, it's kind of in the game where Darren's maybe not had his best game overall. Did he hunt shots a little bit? Did he get a good whistle? No to both of those. But man, to make those two shots at that point in the game, with the score being what it was, that right there is kind of your alpha dog moment that I was certainly looking to see from him. So, man, one of those that it'll be a memorable game because KU has not won a lot of ranked Big 12 matchups on the road in the last couple of years. And for him to be the one that more or less wins it for Kansas in the final moments, that's going to create a huge kind of lasting memory for Darryn at Kansas.
So you get Texas Tech on the road in an environment where, on a serious note, the USA in recent years has been a really difficult place to play. I mean, it's been more than several years. You go back well into the early part of the Beard era at Texas Tech. You get BYU in that insanely hyped game on Saturday, and that's a game where you didn't get the full Peterson experience because he wasn't able to play due to cramping for, a large portion of that second half. You get Utah Saturday, then another big game against Arizona a week from yesterday. But already, Michael, after these last 2 wins and now 6 consecutive wins for this program overall, does it feel like this team has turned a corner from, yeah, they're pretty good and maybe can make a run to, no, this team is legitimately really good?
Yeah, it's funny because I'm still of the man. I still want to see it like against Arizona or Iowa State. And I'm like, wait a second, we already saw it against Iowa State, and now KU's shown it on the road. So I am definitely starting to kind of buy into the vision of what this team can be. And look, it's a vision that I think everybody from the first month of the season, you could see what the vision was. It's just taken a while for it to come to fruition because of the way that, things have gone with Darryn and his health. And you know what? You got to give credit to Bill Self and this coaching staff because Bill called it, You go back to maybe it was after the West Virginia game or maybe it was after UCF. I can't remember. But he said, look, we're like 2 weeks behind every other team because of the way that non-con went, not having Darryn towards the end of it. And here you are a month into conference play, and you're finally seeing all those pieces come together. And Flory's played so well. Bryson has kind of broken through the freshman wall. You've got Darryn, with the cramp coming up against BYU, but then he's able to play the full game. Like, he's trending in the right direction. So right now, like, the trend line for KU is just pointed in the right direction. And it's not pointed like gradually up. It is like exponentially pointing up. And so I think that when you look at the big picture of things for KU is just so huge. And you look at this team and what they do. And yes, it's got weaknesses. Like, yeah, they don't force a lot of turnovers. Yeah, they don't get offensive rebounds, but man, you look at their ability to protect the paint. Do they rely on some 3-point variance? Yeah. a little bit, but there's so many boxes that are checked, and they are Bill Self boxes, right? Toughness, the ability to score at points in a game when, hey, maybe you're not playing super well. You've got guys that can go make plays. And so I just think right now, like, you look at this team and they are looking like the real deal. And look, Monday against Arizona, that's going to be the real test for where this thing's at.
Michael Swain is our guest. He covers the Kansas Jayhawks for Fog.net and 24/7 Sports. That's where you can find all his tremendous coverage of all things KU basketball, recruiting, football, of course, as well. Again, that's over at Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Mike joining us via the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. You mentioned Flory there a moment ago, and man, I think it has been brilliant coaching by Bill Self in these last couple of games. Hey, Flory's not just guarding the five. Like, he is getting on the toughest matchup on the other team. We saw it against PJ Haggerty in the K-State game. K-State obviously has plenty of other problems, but Haggerty could not do anything for the vast majority of that first half while Flory was guarding him. He gave Toppin all sorts of trouble last night as well. That, to me, has been maybe the biggest coaching, difference in a lot of these games for KU as of late. What have you made of the new use? Not that he wasn't good or useful before, but the newfound additional usefulness of Flory on the defensive end of the floor.
Man, it's so funny because I wrote this morning. Like, you look at Flory against North Carolina and Vishar and what he played like. Vishar just killed him, got him in space, in the paint. Well, JT Toppin, I think, is a better version of that. And you look at last night, what he did. So much of it, I think, is confidence and patience with Flory right now, where he has the confidence in his own ability, where he's not gambling, he's not reaching, he's not trying to go block shots that really aren't in his vicinity, and he's just holding his ground. Like, he's not the biggest. Like, sure, if KU goes against a hoss of a center like Purdue has, like, yeah, that guy's going to give him some trouble physicality-wise, but Flory's done such a great job of, I think, growing into just this guy that knows his weaknesses, but plays to his style that I think almost negates some of those weaknesses. And man, I could not have been more impressed by him last night. And you look at what he's done over the last two games. You go to Saturday, and he is guarding probably the number 2 pick in the draft. And he really did a great job on AJ. And it wasn't until the second half when, KU started to, and KU switches plenty in that game, but still, Flory, like, as a primary defender on AJ, did a great job. And then you go last night, like, down the stretch, it's Flory on Toppin, and Toppin makes one of his final 6 shots in the 5 minutes of the game. Like, that's the difference in KU winning and losing. And so, man, you just got to give so much credit to Flory for his improvement and for the coaching staff of player development. Like, this is the classic Bill Self big man trajectory, right? Plays the freshman, shows some positive signs, has some ups and downs in non-conference play, and then when February comes, that guy is playing at his best. And I think that's what you're seeing right now, and it feels like it's been a while since Self's maybe had a big man with that type of trajectory. So a huge credit to Flory and what he's been able to do.
It appears to me, Michael, that Bill Self absolutely, and he loves this team. That's very clear. And you can understand why with how hard they play and their defensive intensity. But it appears that he loves Melvin Council. Like, you posted the video after the K-State game of him, whipping the belt, the BTA thing in the locker room. Flory's camera pans over to Self. He's got this big ear-to-ear grin. On game day the other morning, they put up the little dog graphic of Self Council, on the dog bodies. He's smiling at that. He's having a good time with it. Like, when's the last time Bill Self loved the kind of energy and tenacity of a player like he clearly does for Melvin Council?
Marcus Garrett is the one that immediately comes to mind. Like, Self loved Marcus. And it's funny that they have kind of similar, maybe not styles, right? Because I think Melvin's maybe a little more athletic and maybe more of a creative scorer. But, like,
sure,
in terms of what they transmit to their team, Marcus Garrett's one that comes to mind. And, man, I don't remember. I think it may even be that 2020 team. The last time I remember, like, Self enjoying a team as much as he seems to be enjoying this team, because and maybe part of it's age, and maybe part of it's the health stuff that's come up, where maybe you take a little bit more of a step back and look at it from a more of a big picture perspective of, like, hey, do you enjoy going to work with the guys you work with? Like, how much of that is important in enjoying your workplace, like the people you're around? And I think this team is filled with just a lot of like-minded individuals. And I think just that is something that's really drawn Self to this group. And whether it be Melvin Council, I think Trey White exudes some of that, like Flory. I also think there's a little bit of like youthfulness to this group, even if it is a little bit older. Like, and Self just looks at them like, what are you guys doing? Like, you hear some of the stuff that's happened with Council and what Self has said about him. And he's been like, oh, Melvin will just tell you guys anything. Like, I think Self just really likes this group as a whole, and Melvin's like the leader of that.
He is so much fun. I've posted this on social media a couple of times, Michael. I'm sure I've already said it to you as well. Like, makes me sad that there's a limited amount of time that he's going to be at KU, even if he gets another year with the JUCO ruling and all that. Like, I wish he would be there for 10 years. I really do. Before we let you go, Michael Swain of Fog.net joining us for Jayhawk Weekly via the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. I've got to ask about the number one recruit in the country. Darryn Stokes obviously has been heavily pursued by KU on the high school recruiting front for a long time now. He was there at Allen Fieldhouse over the weekend. What is the latest you can give us about the Darryn Stokes recruitment?
Yeah, man, things seem to be looking good for KU right now. This is one of those where, he's got obviously the Nike NIL deal, and that is going to be something that I think is going to have to get worked through. I think there are positive indications about that deal and Stokes' ability to kind of pick his own college, and that the fact that I think Nike is more looking at this as like, hey, okay, sure, you might give away 1 year of like brand for Darryn Stokes in college, but you're getting 5-10 years plus of an NBA guy. Is that good? So I think generally, like, you look at this recruitment and KU checks a lot of boxes, and KU's been very consistent. Obviously, for a while was, hey, he's going to go to Kentucky, and then that kind of flamed out. And right now, KU's made a very good push. Curtis Townsend has done a great job recruiting him, has a great relationship with him. And man, like, it looks good for KU right now, but this is one of those recruitments where there have already been some twists and turns. So it's not gonna be over till you see the graphic coming up from whoever does it, and you see the stories with the quotes. But right now, things are looking good for KU.
Those graphics, man, they're so flashy, but we've come a long way since it was always the Deezer putting those out for those KU commitments. Michael Swain joins us here on 580 Sports Talk every single Tuesday at this time for Jayhawk Weekly. You can go find his tremendous work covering KU at fog.net and 24/7 Sports. Again, go be a VIP if you're not. That's the best way to catch all the scoops before they get out to the masses. Michael, as always, man, we appreciate the time. Enjoy Utah coming up on the Saturday, and I guess Arizona next Monday as well.
Yeah, thanks, man. Sounds good. Talk to you next week.
That is the great Michael Swain of Fog.net joining us here on 580 Sports Talk. We owe you a quick commercial break. We'll come on back, wrap up this 4 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk. Wrapping up this 4 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk. A little short on time to do any random question Tuesday, but the YouTube chat right now is discussing CD collections. I could not tell you the last time I used a CD, which there was a period of time when I was younger, man, when like burning CDs. Man, my high school and college girlfriend, we used to like burn each other's CDs and give them to each other as gifts and stuff all the time. Those are days gone by. Now it's like, here, let me share a Spotify playlist with you. But I'm trying to remember the last CD I intentionally went out and bought, or that I like. In fact, you know what? The last one I intentionally bought wasn't even for myself. It was a gift for my now wife. It was a Dixie Chicks album. Sorry, the Chicks. That she had left the disc in her car when she traded it in. So I went and I found one online. I found a copy of it and I got it to her for a gift. So that's the last time I actually bought a CD. I could not tell you the last time I listened to one on my own. I did used to go to the used bookstore in my hometown all the time. Though I used to have racks and racks of CDs. Those were the days. Then again, my car now, I don't even think has a CD player. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk, we will get you ready for 580 Preps Tuesday Night Hoops. We got some headlines to get to, plus the final word. All that is coming up after these ads and the news here on 580 WIBW. is the final hour of 580 Sports Talk on this Tuesday afternoon. Where am I, man? I'm not doing the usual bit. Hold on. Let's bring the music back up. Final hour of 580 Sports Talk going up on a Tuesday. There we are. I'm Brendan Dworzinski. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday afternoon. Got a little 580 Preps Tuesday night hoops coming up tonight. Highland Park versus Kansas City, Washington. Little Meadowlark Conference action. Should be a good one, boys and girls. We will send you out to the pressure cooker, Ken Darting Gymnasium, here within about a half an hour on 580 WIBW. Dan Lucero and the coach, Larry Latimer, will have the call for you today, again, for that Meadowlark Conference head-to-head matchup. So while we are awaiting sending you out for that here on 580 Sports Talk and the sports voice of Kansas, we've got our 580 Sports Talk headlines for the day coming here in just a little bit. Have some news from around, let me pull it up right here. Have some news from around the NFL involving a former Kansas City Chiefs coach. Have some college football playoff news, some Olympics news, little sports media news for you, and some updates for Vinny Pasquantino's new contract as well. I don't know why I pronounced his name like that. Vinny, I apologize. We also want to hear from you, whatever you would like to share from us or with us. Well, I want to hear about it, either on the text line, 785-272-9429, or you can dive into the YouTube comment section. You can find us on YouTube by going to youtube.com. It's very simple. I'll walk you through it. youtube.com. Click on the search bar. If you haven't been there before, type in 580 Sports Talk. Hit that enter button. I believe Apple devices, it says return. Then boom, we're going to be the first result. You might see an ad, but we're going to be the first result. Subscribe to the channel while you're there. Watch the live stream. Leave us a comment. It's that easy. You can do it in a matter of moments and find us in living color on our YouTube feed. Well, let's just dive right into it because we are a little bit short in the hour when it comes to time before we send you off to the pressure cooker. So we will begin with the update to Vinny Pasquantino's new contract with the Kansas City Royals. We do have the numbers on this one. I don't believe Dan got to it earlier, so we will share it with you right now. This from John Heyman. I don't know where is Heyman writing these days. He's still at the New York Post, also the insider for MLB Network. The 2-year deal that Vinny P signed last week. First year, 2026, this season, $4,200,000, $4.2 million. The year after, $6.9 million. That's it. That's the salary for each of the next 2 years, with incentives at the 450, 500, and 550 plate appearance thresholds over the next 2 seasons. So a chance to make an extra $600K on top of that. Look, everybody loves Vinny. We talked about this a little bit last week. This is a great deal in my mind for both teams. Both teams get a measure of insurance with this. For Vinny, you are getting a nice payday over the next 2 years, even if your production falls off, even if you get hurt again, and you go into that final year of arbitration and suddenly Vinny didn't perform. You're still getting a nice, healthy payday for RB years 1 and 2. And for the Royals, if Vinny explodes and goes crazy, which maybe is a little less likely now, but I still think is possible. I still am certainly a believer in that player profile and in that bat. You've got a little insurance that you've got a high-quality starting first baseman for the next 2 years at what could be below market value, depending on what his production is. So I think it makes sense for both sides. I think it's good insurance for both sides. And again, no one is sad about locking in Vinny Pasquantino, not having any sort of weird beef between the franchise and one of its best players and one of its best personalities. I would argue its very best personality. Well, Salvi is still there. Maybe I shouldn't take that award from Salvi yet. Royals fans, I'm sure some of you would like to burn me at the stake for even suggesting such a thing. But Vinny's awesome. The rest of the league, this resets the vibes. That's the phrase Dan used when we talked about this on Friday's show last week. There's really good stuff there for Vinny Pasquantino. Really happy for him. Really, really happy for him. In fact, we'll get some other Royals news here in a moment. We have a comment here in the YouTube feed. A couple of them, in fact. So from Vance, he says that seems a little bit low, and Ryan also adds that it. So really, and Marky is right on this in the YouTube feed as well, that this is where it comes to when with arbitration, is that the first few years, if Vinny filed at 4.5 million for this year, that is what he and his camp filed for the arbitration contract this year. The Royals filed at 4 million. That's where the vibes were kind of weird in the first place. Based on how the system works, there would be a typical range that Vinny would sign up for or file for, to use the right verbiage, next season, and then a certain number for the year after that. So Vinny overall, again, is probably coming in a little below what he, based on his current trajectory and current production, would indicate he could file for. But again, this almost acts as insurance for him over the next couple of years, that even if he gets hurt again, if the labrum is a problem again, if he has a down year, he is going to keep himself in a healthy place and essentially has a 2-year waiting period before he hits year 3 of arbitration, when he could really blow up and get either a long-term contract, get a big arbitration payday, whatever it might be. Does it sound weird? Yes, because it is weird. Because it's the way it's worked for eons in Major League Baseball. I don't love the system because I would rather guys just get paid what they're worth sooner. That's why, you look at Kyler Murray. This is the example everyone always comes back to. When Kyler was drafted top 10 by the then Oakland A's, he was also going to obviously be the first overall pick in the NFL draft. Well, baseball, you get the big contract, the second contract, so to speak. You get paid way more than you do in the NFL. You get it all guaranteed. By the same token, after your signing bonus, even as a high pick, if you flame out in the minors, you're not getting anything. And it takes you so long to get through the team control years, to get through arbitration, just to get to that contract. You're already in your 30s. Kyler's already gotten big-time paydays and endorsements in the NFL, so he's actually gotten more upfront in that regard. So I'm not trying to make it a battle, one or the other. I'm not trying to totally relitigate that story from, 7 years ago at this point. It's just the way baseball works. I don't love it personally. I'm sure some old-timers, some traditionalists like that that's the way it's structured, but that is why Vinny is signing a contract like this, even if it seems like kind of a weird scenario. Ryan also mentions that I actually read his comment wrong. That's not what he was talking about. But nonetheless, an explanation for you, just in case you were curious about the arbitration process. So I do appreciate the questions, even if I misread them. But hey, sometimes that happens. I'm going quickly. I'm darting back and forth. I have the attention span of a goldfish at this point in my life. So I'm bobbing all over the place. Speaking of the Royals, and this has also come up from some listeners today, but it was made, the announcement was made this week that WIBW TV, so Channel 13 and its substations, are going to air a series of Royals games this season. Yes, Royals baseball coming back over the air, free with antenna, all of that, and it will be televised by our friends at WIBW TV, and again, some of their family of channels, their substations. So this will include the home opener on March 30th against the Twins, and after that, want to make sure my math is right here, 9 more games after that. Most weekends will have a game. There'll be March 30th, as I mentioned, home opener. April 3rd against Milwaukee. April 24th against the Angels. The 22nd against the Mariners. June 12th. That's May 22nd against the Mariners. June 12th against Houston. June 19th against the Cardinals, who, by the way, might be absolutely horrendous this year. They traded Brendan Donovan to the Mariners this week. Oh, man, that Cardinals team is going to be absolute booty this year. Then you get July 17th against the Padres, August 7th against the Cubs, August 21st against the Tigers, and September 7th, Labor Day, so a Monday, against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Those are all home games for the Royals that will be carried on either Channel 13 itself or one of its substations. We'll tell you more about those stations, by the way, coming up with a headline a little bit later on this segment. This obviously follows up the Royals news from yesterday that it is going to theoretically be easier to watch the Royals this year. You'll be able to pay a fee and stream them in market. You don't have to go through Valley or FanDuel, those stations anymore. It's right through the MLB. If you're a cable subscriber, there will almost certainly, on whatever cable package you have, be a channel that is specifically and only for Royals baseball. This is a good thing. It's going to make it easier to find them. There are fewer blackouts. More people around the Royals fan base, not just in our area, will be able to watch. So that's a good thing overall. And this is really cool for us in our area. You'll be able to catch some Royals games with an antenna for the first time. I mean, we did this last year as well. But prior to that, It had been a long time that you could have watched a local Royals broadcast like that. So some really good stuff for the Royals. Really glad that they have negotiated that in their local market. Continuing on with today's 580 Sports Talk headlines, let's get to that NFL news I mentioned. Matt Nagy has found his new home, and it is an extremely predictable home for Matt Nagy. He is going to end up with the New York Giants as their new offensive coordinator. I don't know if the Giants have made it official yet, but all the insiders have it. It is going to happen. In the writing of Jordan Renan of ESPN, he says that Nagy, who was the Chiefs' OC for the past 3 seasons, will be tasked with leading the development of second-year quarterback Jackson Dart and an offense that has other young stars such as Malik Neighbors and Cam Scadaboo. He has spent much of his career as an assistant under Chiefs head coach Andy Reid. He also, of course, spent some time as the head coach of the Chicago Bears. He was actually the coach of the year in the NFL in 2018, which, frankly, should tell you all about the NFL Coach of the Year award. Here is why this is extremely predictable. What coaching tree in the NFL does John Harbaugh come from? I'll give you a moment. Okay, if you guessed Andy Reid, you are correct. So the whole spiel about, well, this was always part of the plan. We were going to let the contract lapse. We knew he was going to go be a head coach or get to go be a play caller and an offensive coordinator somewhere else and really spread his wings. And then he ends up with a guy in the same tree. Now, if you're Matt Nagy, this still works out for you. You get to work with a young quarterback who, frankly, I still have some pretty big questions about Jackson Dart and his viability as a long-term NFL starter. But there's obviously some intrigue there. When Cam Scadaboo gets back healthy, that's a fun running back. Malik Neighbors is a legit number 1 wide receiver. You've got pieces to work with. And for the first time since he was the head coach in Chicago, he's calling plays. Obviously, he was not going to do that under Andy Reid, except in games where the Chiefs didn't care and didn't need to win. And Andy could pass off the play calling duties in those particular situations. So it's a big step up for him. If I'm the Giants, I don't feel great about this. Nagy's ability to develop a quarterback, questionable, to say the least. Now, Mitch Trubisky probably would have been bad regardless. Justin Fields, as we have seen, bad regardless. However, both of those guys stunk for the most part when Matt Nagy was their head coach and play caller in Chicago. There were some rumors that he was a very unpleasant person to deal with for some players. And I don't know the guy personally. I know all the teams speak very highly of it. Good luck to the Giants. I would not have made this hire, but again, coaching and hiring in the NFL and even signings from free agency in the NFL are so much about who you know and who you've been with before. And the Harbaughs trust Andy Reid, and Andy Reid is going to hype up his guys. And that is why Matt Nagy is the new play caller and offensive coordinator for the New York Giants. I wish him well. I wish them well. If you were to ask me over or under like 16.5 for ranking of the offense for the Giants, like we were doing DVOA or EPA, even scoring offense this year, give me the under. In fact, I feel pretty good taking the under in the bottom half of the league when it comes to scoring for the New York Giants this coming season. But I wish them well, one way or the other. Other news today from the football world. Let's move on to the college game. I've got some beef with this news, to be completely honest with you. The college football playoff announced today its schedules for the upcoming playoff seasons, including next year. This is infuriating to me. This is from Heather Dinich of ESPN. The college football playoff will not have a game on New Year's Eve this season to avoid playing at the same time as an NFL Thursday night game, according to the executive director of the CFP, Rich Clark. Instead, the CFP quarterfinals will be Wednesday, December 30th at the Fiesta Bowl, then a triple header on New Year's Day, January 1st of 2027, including the Cotton Bowl, the Peach Bowl, and, of course, the Rose Bowl. The semifinals will then be held on January 14th at the Orange Bowl, the next day, the 15th, at the Sugar Bowl. And the championship game will be played, I believe it's January 24th is the day of the national championship game next year. I can pull it up on a calendar really quick and let you know. The 25th. January 25th is going to be the national championship game next season. So, one, my beef here is what the 25th of January. We used to crown the national champion on New Year's Day. You're telling me we're going to have a playoff game in college football on December 30th, and we're not going to crown the national champion until almost a full month later? It's too long, man. It is too long. Shorten it up. You are hurting the... This is a problem I have with the NBA and the NHL to some degree, although I do not follow that league nearly as closely as I follow others. These postseasons lose steam the longer they go. Even the NFL, which has added playoff teams, which I'm not necessarily in favor of, even though it's hard to complain about more football, they kept it the same number of rounds. The playoffs do not go on longer. Now, when they add more games to the season will go longer eventually when we get to 18 games in 20 weeks with 2 byes, but they didn't extend the playoffs. The NBA playoffs go on for 2 months. It is just far too long. The NHL is the same way. College football is in the playoffs. You're going to lose interest. You are going to lose interest in those games. It's hard not to at that point, especially when you're going up against other stuff. College basketball is ramping up at that point. Obviously, you're deep. You've got the championship games in the NFL, the conference championships going on. So I do not like that. I do not like playing the national championship that late. It bothers me. Maybe that's my own personal thing. Maybe you say you don't care. That's great. That's fine. That to me is just too late. I like the traditional style. Get this done earlier in the year. Now, with that in mind, the idea that you cannot play a college football playoff game because you're scared of the ratings going up against a Thursday night football game in what will be probably week 17, if my math is correct, the final one of the year, streaming online only, is so chicken you-know-what embarrassing by college football, because no league ever wants to do we don't want to go up against the NFL. Ratings. And I get ratings lead to sponsorship dollars, all those things. I understand that. You're scared of a Thursday night football game? You're scared of sleepy Al Michaels? Guys, what are we doing? What are we doing? At some point, one of these leagues, and I don't talk about the NBA, I will give them credit because they've said, you know what, the NFL, you want to come and do Christmas Day? Fine, we're not budging. We're doing our quintuple header. We're still playing our 5 games on Christmas Day. That's our day, and we're going to have our sponsors deal with it, and the viewers are going to deal with it. And if they have to choose, we hope they choose us because we're putting on a good product. And this year, NBA games were probably better than the NFL games were. NFL obviously still monumentally more popular in this country, but I just don't understand the way that these leagues are structured. Like, we're supposed to believe, well, this is the best product out there. We're going to make it the best product. But you're scared of putting a playoff game up against Thursday night football? Just air the game, man. You're going to get great ratings anyway. I don't understand it. Again, this is less bothersome to me than playing the national championship game, a month and a half or more after the end of the regular season. But I just do not understand why you have to be so scared of it. So many leagues, Major League Baseball, changing the schedule with the World Series, college football not wanting to overlap. Just play your big games and say, screw them. These leagues are so cowardly constantly when it comes to the NFL. And I guess that's a credit to Roger Goodell and to the Shield, because they now just dominate the landscape. And I love the NFL more than most things. Got my wife, my kid, Raising Cane sauce, the Packers, and then the rest of the NFL. Those are the things I care about in this life. And still, I would rather these leagues just grow a pair, put your games on where they're supposed to be when people are dedicated to watching them instead of, well, we're going to move this around. I just do not get it. I do not understand the cowardice. And, oh no, our ratings. Everyone under 25 is stealing your games on Stream East anyway, guys. Come on, just give me a break with that stuff. Wrapping up our headlines today, 2 more quick ones here for you before we get to a final word and send you off to Tuesday Night Hoops. Some news from the Olympics. Lindsey Vonn, one of the biggest names in the Olympics this year and in recent memory, in a recent crash while training overseas in Europe, Lindsey Vonn tore her ACL and her meniscus. She is still planning to compete in the Milan Cortina Olympics, which, by the way, some events begin this week. Curling begins before the opening ceremonies coming up this weekend. She said on Tuesday the damage to her left knee was a completely ruptured ACL plus bone bruising plus meniscal damage. She's had 3 days of PT and doctor's advice, and she still skied earlier today, saying, quote, "My knee is not swollen, and with help from a knee brace, I am confident I can compete on Sunday." So this is obviously not what I hoped for. I know what my chances were before the crash, and I know what my chances, or that my chances aren't the same as it stands today. But I know that there's still a chance, and as long as there's a chance, I will try. I will do everything in my power to be out there in the starting gate. That's nuts. Athletes, world-class athletes, Olympians, you're insane, and I have so much respect for you because of that insanity. And look, like, you know, there's world championships and other events and tournaments and whatnot that these kind of Olympic sports competitors are competing in and year out. I understand that the Olympics are not everything, but they are the biggest thing in the world to these Olympians. And to dedicate your whole life, you've been competing in the Olympics, guys, since 2002, since the games were in Salt Lake City. Like, that's how long it has been that she has been on the, you know, she was 17 at the time, I believe. Like, she has been at the forefront of skiing in America for a long, long time. And she's still trying. She's getting back into it. She has this severe injury, going back to it. Is it insane? Yes, I truly believe it. But if you are this kind of athlete and this kind of competitor, I can't help but respect it and have all the respect in the world for what she has accomplished, for what she is doing. And I hope for the best for her. I hope it doesn't become even more serious. I hope that brace holds up on the slopes, because it's a great story. It was a great story regardless. A little scared for her health now, but I don't know how you can't respect the grind and determination because it's insane. Normal people do not think in this way, but the greatest of all time kind of Olympians, they're obviously not just like you and me. One final headline for you today. Some more sports media news on the local front. We got some Washburn basketball coming up this weekend on the road in Warrensburg, but 1 week from Saturday, so we are talking about 11 days from right now, Washburn basketball taking on Northeastern State in MIAA action. They are going to be televising that doubleheader for Washburn basketball. Our friends over at Channel 13 are going to put those games on their airwaves. The women's game will tip off at 1 p.m. against Northeastern. That game is going to be played the TV broadcast on Channel 13.5. For those of you with the digital antenna, that channel is known as the 365. The men's game against Northeastern will tip off at 3 o'clock. That'll be on big WIBW TV. Of course, you can always listen to me and our radio broadcast over on Country 1069. But that is really cool for Washburn because, guys, this is the best basketball team in the country. The men's team is. The women's team has been playing some incredible basketball as of late, winners of 5 of their last 6, both going into huge games this weekend against UCM. So really cool. They're going to get some shine on TV. But again, if you want to listen to the radio, listen to your boy. You can do that on Country 1069 for every Washburn game. Let's get to a quick timeout. We'll come on back with a final word, get you ready for some 580 Preps Tuesday Night Hoops coming up tonight from the Pressure Cooker. That's coming up on the other side of this break here on 580 Sports Talk. Wrapping up this edition of 580 Sports Talk with today's final word. Got to go back to the United Supermarkets Arena from last night and KU basketball taking on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. We talked about this a little bit. I know Dan got to it at the top of the show. We talked about it a little bit at the top of the 4 o'clock hour as well. And I asked Michael Swain when he joined us for Jayhawk Weekly, is this KU team, have they turned a corner from, yeah, they're pretty good, they can make a run, to, no, guys, they're really good? And I think the answer is yes. And you heard me just a couple weeks ago say, I think this team is good enough to make it to the Final Four. They are a contender to make it to the Final Four. And even going into the year, you could tell this team was being built differently. And look, I'll eat as much crow as anyone. I was all in on the team 2 seasons ago, and Kevin McCullough getting hurt really jacked up that team. DeJuan Harris hurting his ankle late, that hurt the team. That, in fact, even dates back to the season before that when Jalen Wilson was running roughshod on things. But that team, Hunter Dickinson, obviously his first year there, fell short. Things got kind of messy at the end. Last year's team, I bought into the big names, and I was wrong. I will admit that. Rylan Griffin, I was wrong about it. AJ Storr, I was a little more right than I was on Griffin, but I was still wrong about it. And in the end, I defended him to the very end, but I was wrong about Hunter Dickinson for the most part as well. Although I don't think it was quite as bad as some people do. That's neither here nor there. But going into this year, having been wrong about the previous 2 KU seasons and the way that Bill Self constructed the roster, I was excited about what this group could be because it was very different from those last couple seasons when it was stars, big name, huge portal spend, star. This year, I mean, Darryn Peterson obviously is the sun that this KU basketball solar system revolves around. But Trey White's been a good player, but not a superstar. Melvin Council was a JUCO guy a couple of years ago. He was at St. Bonaventure, hardly, a mega star in the transfer portal. Flory, you had to pay big bucks to keep. You thought he was going to be locked in, but then he tried the portal. You ended up keeping him. Bryson Tiller, this is a guy who was once a 5-star recruit, but he got really hurt his senior year of high school, well, overtime elite, whatever. Joined KU early, redshirted for a semester, kind of got left behind. Cole Rosario was a late process pickup in recruiting. No one expected anything from Elmarco Jackson. Truly nobody expected anything from Jamari McDowell. He's one of the coolest stories of the whole year. I mean, Paul Mbia was like a throw-in guy. This was not a team full of superstars outside of DP. And Bill Self built a roster that was supposed to support this superstar in the middle. And there have been 2 KU teams this year for the most part. It's the Darryn Peterson show when he has actually been on the floor. And it was a bunch of, to use Melvin Council's, parlance and nickname and all that, a bunch of dogs who might not be the most talented, but they are scrappy. They play great defense. They are tough. They take on the image and the personality of their coach, and they push forward that way. And we are starting to see the more and more that Darryn Peterson is out there and healthy and playing at full strength, this team with DP at his best, with everybody else coming around together and filling those needs and those spots and those specific roles, this team can be great. They do not have the kind of talent Arizona has. Arizona, who is coming to town a week from yesterday for Big Monday. They do not have the talent that a Michigan has with loads of NBA players on those teams, right? But they are tough. They are defensive-minded. They are improving, which to me is the biggest deal. Like, it's not like, they something flipped. No, they're obviously improving. Going into the year, do you think Bill Self would have called Flory Badunga the best defensive player in the country? No. No one in their right mind would have. But over the last couple of weeks, the matchups you can play with him, humongous deal for this KU team. Bryson Tiller has grown quite a bit. Darryn Peterson being healthy changes things. Melvin Council was never this kind of player at previous stops. Trey White's been great. There's not a ton of depth. It's not the most talented team Bill Self has ever had. But when you've got that kind of toughness, that kind of will to win, something that, frankly, KU's probably been missing for the last couple of years, changes things completely when you've got at least one superstar and you've got a legendary head coach like Bill Self. Saturday was fun. Last night was a blast to close. Even if you fall to Arizona, that's not going to change my opinion of this KU team. They're a Final Four contender, and in a one-game sample, they can absolutely hang with anyone. That's going to do it today for 580 Sports Talk. Appreciate you joining us. Great day. for the text line and for the YouTube chat. Appreciate all you guys hanging out with us today. We're back tomorrow at 3. Until then, for Spencer, for Dan, I'm Brendan Dworzynski. Let's get to a quick 1-minute break, and when we come back, we've got 580 Preps Tuesday Night Hoops from the pressure cooker as Highland Park takes on KC Washington. Dan Lucero and Larry Latimer join you next on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW.